14 biggest Star Trek comebacks we're still waiting for. The Star Trek franchise has always been about hope. Hope for the future, for humanity, and for the belief that no character is ever truly gone as long as their story still resonates. With multiple timelines, alternate realities, mirror universes, time travel paradoxes, holodeck trickery, and resurrection by transporters, Star Trek has built a narrative playground where comebacks aren't just possible, they're practically tradition. Yet despite decades of storytelling across television and film, there are still characters, ships, concepts, and unresolved threads that fans are desperately waiting to see again. Some would be triumphant returns. Others would be emotionally devastating. All of them would feel like a gift to longtime viewers. Here are the 14 biggest Star Trek comebacks we're still waiting for. 1. Captain Benjamin Sisko's return from the Prophets. When Avery Brooks's Captain Benjamin Sisko ascended into the Celestial Temple in the Deep Space Nine finale, the series framed it as a bittersweet ending, but also as a promise. Sisko told Cassidy Yates he would return, maybe in a year, maybe yesterday. That line still echoes in the fandom. DS9 remains the franchise's most serialized and arguably most thematically complex show, yet modern Star Trek has barely touched its legacy. A true Sisko comeback, even in animated or limited form, would feel monumental. Not just fan service, but narrative closure decades in the making. To the Enterprise E. And what actually happened to it? Star Trek. Picard casually revealed that the USS Enterprise E was lost under Captain Worf's command. Then it promptly moved on without explanation. For a ship that served through some of the most pivotal events of the late 24th century, the Enterprise E deserves more than a throwaway line. Whether through a flashback episode, a novel adaptation, or a future series, fans want the story. How did it fall? Was it a noble sacrifice? A tragic mistake? Or something darker? Every Enterprise has a legacy. The E's is still unfinished. 3. Captain Harry Kim. For real this time. Poor Harry Kim. 7 seasons of Voyager and not a single promotion. Then Star Trek. Picard finally brought him back, only to make him a low-ranking captain overseeing a small vessel in a bleak timeline. Fans want justice for Harry Kim. Not ironic, not depressing, not played for laughs. A genuine, earned comeback where he's a respected Starfleet leader, shaped by his Voyager experiences. He survived the Delta Quadrant. He deserves a legacy. 4. Garak's post-war story. Elim Garak may be one of the most beloved characters in all of Star Trek. Yet his fate after the Dominion War remains largely unexplored on screen. We know he returned to Cardassia to help rebuild. But that's it. A Garak-centered limited series, political thriller, espionage drama, moral chess game would be incredible. Imagine Garak navigating Cardassia's fragile new government, haunted by his past, trying to do good while still being Garak. It writes itself. 5. The real return of Q, not just cameos. John D. Lancey's Q returned in Picard Season 2, but the story leaned heavily toward finality and closure. While it was emotionally resonant, it also felt like the franchise closing the door on one of its most dynamic forces. Yet Q is not just a character, he's a narrative engine. He challenges humanity, mocks it, pushes it forward. A true comeback would restore Q as an ongoing presence, not just a farewell tour. Because let's be honest, Star Trek is always better when Q shows up uninvited. 6. Captain Erica Hernandez and the Columbia-class legacy. Star Trek. Enterprise introduced Captain Erica Hernandez, commanding the NX-02 Columbia, and then did almost nothing with her. She had instant presence, strong chemistry with Archer, and enormous potential as a recurring figure in early Starfleet history. With modern Trek revisiting the franchise's roots, Strange New Worlds, Section 31 stories, temporal agents, there's a real opportunity to bring Hernandez back into canon storytelling. Early Starfleet deserves more exploration, and she's the perfect anchor. 7. Ro Laren's unfinished journey. Picard Season 3 finally brought Ro Laren back, and Michelle Forbes delivered a powerhouse performance. But her return was heartbreakingly brief. It reminded fans why Ro was such a compelling character in The Next Generation, conflicted, principled, stubborn, and deeply human. Her story ended in sacrifice. But Star Trek is no stranger to twists. Even beyond Resurrection, her legacy deserves exploration. What impact did she have on Starfleet? On Byron Federation relations? On the intelligence community she infiltrated? Ro's story still feels unfinished. 8. The Doctor's long life after Voyager. The EMH, the Doctor, from Voyager was teased in Picard Season 1. imprisoned and forgotten. That's not just tragic. It's thematically rich in ways the show barely explored. An artificial life form who fought for personhood, who evolved beyond his programming, who experienced art, love, autonomy, only to be discarded by history. That's the kind of existential sci-fi Star Trek excels at. A proper comeback for the Doctor could be emotionally devastating and philosophically powerful. 9. Captain Rachel Garrett and the Enterprise C timeline. Yesterday's Enterprise remains one of the next generation's greatest episodes, largely because of Captain Rachel Garrett and the doomed Enterprise C. Her sacrifice restored the timeline, but it also created one of the franchise's most haunting what-ifs. What was Garrett like before the rift? What led her to command? How did her crew view her? A comeback doesn't have to undo her fate. It could explore her through time travel, historical records, or even a prequel miniseries. The Enterprise C deserves its own legend. 10. The Return of the Mirror Universe. Done seriously again. The Mirror Universe has been overused in recent years, particularly in Discovery, often leaning more towards spectacle than substance. But when done right, like DS9's Mirror episodes, it becomes a dark, fascinating reflection of the Federation's ideals. Fans are still waiting for a grounded, character-driven Mirror Universe comeback, one that explores how tiny moral shifts lead to tyranny, one that uses the concept not just for fun evil goatees, but for real thematic weight. 11. Captain Nog's legacy. Aaron Eisenberg's Nog was one of Star Trek's most moving character arcs, from petty Ferengi thief to dedicated Starfleet officer who fought trauma, loss, and identity. After Eisenberg's passing, Star Trek honored him by naming a ship the USS Nog in Discovery. But Nog's legacy deserves more than a